Sounds stupid, but on my system, we go around it around right now. It's kind of straight out of it all.
Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Events Committee on Tuesday, the 7th of November at 7 p.m. Can I just ask, before I start, if anybody wants to speak, please make sure that you have your microphones turned on so everybody can hear. And once you finish speaking, if you could turn it off just so others can have the microphones on. We have apologies from Councillor Dorothy Lord and Anissa McGladdery from BID. Has there any declarations of interest from anybody at all? No, wonderful. Can anyone who attended the last meeting, we have one, and can I have a second? Second, thank you very much. I now open it up to the public forum. If anyone here would like to speak at all.
Could I speak on behalf of both myself and Adam? Adam's the new parade marshal. I'm just assisting him, but because I've been here before, if you've any questions you want to ask about Remembrance Day, from our point of view, we're here to answer any questions you've got.
Excellent, thank you.
I've got one question: is who's organising the maroon for 11 o'clock?
It's been arranged between staff, like we did last year at 11 o'clock. It will be set off.
And you just letting the one off at 11, aren't you?
Just the one at 11, yeah.
That's fine.
We'll go to item 7 first, where we'll bring up Remembrance Sunday, where we'll receive an update in the progress on the Remembrance Sunday parade.
Yeah.
So obviously Remembrance Sunday is this Sunday. Same as last year, we'll be having the parade for setting off from the British Legion. So anyone that is taking part in the parade, please make sure you are there around about 10 o'clock, plenty of time to get it in the right formation. The road closure has all been sorted. You may see signs up advising people of the road closure. Just like last year, we've got that PA system that fits on the back of the quad that was loud enough, and we've got the marching music that we had last year that was provided by the old parade Marshal Jack. We've got AB Brass Band, Steve Sumner, which is a bagpiper, Nelson Civic Ladies Choir, and the male Orpheus Glee Choir also attended to help with hymns and whatnot down at the War Memorial. We have put the lamppost poppies up as well. They were up beginning of this week, back end last week as well. So they're up ready. The programme has been printed and we've given 500 copies to Tony, who he's going to distribute them on Sunday. And as we've already mentioned, the maroon will be getting set off at 11 o'clock like we did last year, which I don't know if anyone remember, but it was a bit unexpected because you didn't expect it to be so loud up at the War Memorial, considering where we set it off from. But from our side, everything's in order, everything's ready to go. Just hope that it stays dry. Am I right in thinking that any councillors standing near the town hall should stand at the flagpoles? Is that right?
It doesn't matter which side they want to stand on, because as we're walking up, Adam will see which side they're on, and then he'll salute whichever way they are. A quick point, Hannah Nuttall, the bugler, she has agreed to come up from Loughborough and play for us.
Wow.
I forgot to mention.
That's brilliant, thank you.
The fire brigade, I'm in close contact with the fire brigade, and he asked me the other day, do you want the two? I don't know why I don't phone you, but the two, one in front, one behind, is that what we want? Yeah. I don't know why I haven't phoned you or I don't know, but
It's what we've always had.
yeah,
What we've always had.
you were just kind of confirm
Yeah.
it, so I said yes anyway, but it should go through you on about it, and
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Can I ask Adam, that, you know, the programmes, will they be given to the civic party before they set off? Because you get down there and then you're looking for them and you can't find them and they've all gone. Or
Yeah, they will be doing. I'll do my best to get that.
so we need a few to
Yeah.
take with us and the others down there. Not the other thing. Oh, and it's quite disappointing. It has been for the last couple of years when we break up and you are waiting to go back up. People, even the civic party, they just disappear. And there was only about 5 of us that stood last year because they just, and I kept saying we should be marching back. Oh no, and they just wandered off. So is there any way we can tell them that if they come down in a suit, but they at least should go up and stand across there and take the salute?
I'll just tell you a little thing that I've noticed over how many years I've been going is when they march back up, they are soldiers, and they march at a certain pace, and civilian people can't keep up with the pace. That even all the veterans, it's in their head, and they march. They don't walk; they march. That's why before us civilians, if you will, they can't keep up. And that's the reason why they don't.
But if it ends and you get up there, they don't start marching for another 5 minutes. We walked up every year, and we've caught them. We haven't been having to run up with that. And it's just that I think it's a poor do when they come in and they turn into it, and there's about 3 people there. It's just not good enough for the soldiers, you know. I mean, me, Howard, and MP, that's all that were there. And there were lots of other councillors that had gone down and they just disappeared.
The MP gets the lift.
We could ask Alex from St Bart's, who's leading the service, just make an announcement at the end. I think that's probably going to be the only way around it, unless you go around every single person.
To help in your situation, I think when we meet at 10 o'clock and the dignitaries form up, if we tell them then, and if Adam can just delay the actual parade marching up a couple of minutes just to give the old people, I'm one of old people, a bit of time to get up there, I think that will solve the problem. It's just the speed of the soldiers that are marching. That's all. Yeah, okay, we can sort that out.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. We can get that sorted.
Questions? Is there any more further questions for that at all?
I was just wondering, you know, obviously the parade marshal will be having, people laying their wreaths. Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much for that. Next we'll feedback on Halloween in Colne. I just want to say thank you to Nathan and his team, obviously, for putting on a fantastic event in Colne.
Just before we go on to Halloween, if Tony and Adam want to stay, they can. If not, you can
Thank you.
get yourself
Look at
off.
this to that.
Check it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
So back to Halloween. We've had a lot of positive feedback about Halloween. The event was spread out this year in comparison to last year. So we had activities going on inside the market, inside the library, in Hartley Square, inside the Funhouse, and on Parliament Street car park. And people seem to flow around all the activities quite nicely. I mean, at one point, the Funhouse was at capacity, and anyone that went in it's a big open space, which was great to see. But we've had a lot of positive feedback about how well the event was, how great it is for the town, how great it is for families that are struggling at the moment, because obviously a lot of the activities are free. So I think overall the Halloween event was a great success. We had positive feedback from anyone attending, performers that we brought in, traders. I just wish that rain would have held off for a little bit, but we're only 20 minutes, so it's not too bad. But yeah, overall it were a successful event. I think it were great for the town.
I agree. Is there any questions? Excellent, thank you. Now we move on to the dreaded C word that is Christmas in Colne. It comes up closer and closer every year. Evan, please.
So you may have seen all over social media about the Christmas in Colne event. We're getting a really, really good response across social media. I had a look today and we've reached 42,000 people already, and we've still got a couple of weeks to go. Hopefully we don't get 42,000 people turning up. But in regards to the social media promoting the event, it's doing really, really well. Alice and Michael have been out today posting in the shop windows, so thank you for that. The printer's currently on printing some more for you. And we've got banners going up around the town. We're getting consent from the companies that own the railings, so they're going up this week just to get the word out there as much as possible about the event. And the gateway boards have gone up as well. We've got a big day planned for Christmas, so we are using the Funhouse, or Ernie's as some people know it. And inside there we will create like a Christmas village, which will have 50 plus stalls, face painting. There's an area for entertainment, so we've got a variety of entertainment on, and then free Santa's grotto, which the grotto is due to be delivered this week, so we're looking forward to getting that up. We're going to decorate the full room. We've got like big snowflakes going to dangle from the ceiling and make it not look like a warehouse, make it look like a Christmas village. So we'll start setting out the week of the event. Away from the Funhouse, we've got a variety of entertainment taking place on the street, such as giant snow globe, rodeo reindeer, snowboard simulator, donkey rides. We've got craft activities in the library, Punch and Judy, comedy magic. We've got Lancashire Fire and Rescue attending with a fire engine again. We've got free letter writing to Santa. We've got still walking nutcrackers that are going to hand out Santa hats to children, and a visit from Buddy the Elf, who's going to hand out reindeer antlers to children. And no. That'll be a different one. We've got a variety of entertainment on the stage, from live music, performances from local theatre companies, children's entertainers. We've got the Muni doing a preview of the Panto, and then obviously we've got the Torchlit parade, which hopefully will get rid of all the flaming torches and glow sticks for Alice's sake. And then obviously it'll be up to Hartley Square for the finale, where you may have seen we've got Steve Royal from Britain's Got Talent, and then Andy Wymett from Kirk from Coronation Street. We've spoke with Andy Wymett's management last week, and we've actually got a 45-minute window where people can actually meet him and have photos, which I think will go down quite well. But we've got a variety of stuff going on throughout the day. We're accommodating for a range of different people. In the Santa's Grotto, we've got selection boxes, but we've also got tubs of Milky Bar buttons for smaller children. And then we are going to have a quiet hour as well. So the first 2 hours of the event, there'll be no music on. It'll be quiet, and obviously we'll always have a quiet area within the library as well for those with any special educational needs. But everything's all sorted. All the operational elements are booked, and we have sent letters out to the businesses advising that the road closure is slightly earlier than previous years, just because we have to get the stage in at the time that works for them, just because it's a trailer stage, and they'll probably do about 10 Christmas lights which are on in that day. But it also gives us the opportunity to make sure everything's in place ready for that 10 a.m. start. So the road will close at 5:30, which will be slightly easier. But in the morning, yeah. But apart from that, everything's all taken care of, and we're just cracking on with the social media and the marketing for the event. Any questions?
Alice?
You know that we went out to deliver these posters, and we did get a little bit of feedback from some of the traders as to that their footfall did fall off a little bit when there were these events, especially from the arcade perspective, where the sweet shop is, through to the bakery. And I know that at Easter, and I think at one Christmas, we did a treasure hunt, a little letter in each of the windows around town, and people had to go around, and I think it was Bethlehem at one point that they had to find, mix the letters up, and then they came back to, well, it happened to be our stall, and then we gave them a little prize if they got the correct word. And I'm just wondering whether that will get people around the shops, so that, okay, they've come to an event, but they also say, oh, there's a wool shop, I didn't know that. And it just raises the awareness of what Colne has got to offer. Now, I'm quite happy to sort that out if we've got any prizes to give with that, or if we've got any budget for that. And we can even look at what we did, I think it was perhaps 3 years ago, it might have been last year, I don't know, for Christmas and that letter. No, we did it at Easter. We did. But I have a feeling we did it at Christmas, maybe not last year because it was wet. Yeah, so there's that. And there's also, are we having a window display and a prize for that? Because we often do, don't we?
So we'll start with the treasure hunt. We've already started designing a booklet, because I was speaking to the lady from the wool shop in the arcade, and she said that everyone tends to go to the top end of town, they don't spread out. So we was looking at ways of we can spread the event out slightly, but obviously not spreading out too much that people having to walk a distance to different activities.
I think at one stage there was something right down at the bottom. And, people got a little bit tired. So this corner, or St. John's,
Or maybe where what's it called? Where Legion is.
Excelsior. Yeah.
So our media and communications officers started designing a booklet similar to what we do at Easter, where in the shops there will be a letter and it spells a secret word. The only problem we're having is there's about £200 left in the budget for this year. So we're trying to find a low cost prize, because if you based it off anything like we did at Easter, we're going to need about 450 prizes. But it is something we're looking at to get sorted. Like I said, she'd already started designing the booklet that we'll hand out, but if the Corn in Bloom store is happy to give those out, that'd be brilliant.
That'd be great. And certificates, we noticed that the children actually, they really loved having a certificate.
So part of the Design Works booklet, certificates, and the letters that'll be in the windows. The window competition we will be doing again. We've designed the artwork to get out on social media to get the businesses to register. And just like we do at Easter and Halloween, we'll be doing a window competition, and then they'll get advertising on social media from it, and they'll get a certificate as well, which is always nice. But we're already on with those.
You're on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
And I get it.
Yeah. And if you can include a shop or two in that arcade, then that would be great.
Yeah, we'll spread out the letters,
Yeah.
and make sure
The wool shop, the bread shop. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alice. Is there any other questions on Christmas in Colne?
Is there any? Is there any stalls going to be on the outside, or are they all going to be in the fun house?
So, due to the concerns from our insurers from the past 2 years, they've stated that any stall that is in a gazebo or a traditional market stall has to be indoors. But we do have food vendors on the high street. We've got a variety of loaded fries, pizzas, a variety of different food stalls. But due to what our insurers have raised their concerns about, we are limited really to what we can put outside.
What about if somebody's got their own stuff?
Even if they've still got their own gazebo,
All right.
because ultimately we would be liable, because we have to check when we do an event. We have to check all gazebos regardless of whether they're ours or not, because ultimately we would be liable if anything was to happen. And obviously everyone knows that Colne is a wind tunnel. Yeah, only on Christmas. So it would just be food vendors, unfortunately.
And
Craig, one.
The normal outdoor market will be on though. So the normal, little stalls that are there, they'll be on anyway out there.
can I just ask another thing? We've got a professional introducer. He's going to be there all day, isn't he? Doing stuff. So I don't think we need to be bothered at the end, because I think he'll handle all that one.
So we have got Gavin Young from 12 o'clock right through till about 7:30. Obviously Neil's unavailable, he's abandoning us. So he's actually coming in next week just to run through everything, but he'll be doing all announcements, hyping the crowd up.
And it's a good thing, he's got a lovely voice.
Well, he's also going to fill gaps with some songs as well, which should be good. But yeah, everything's all sorted.
Good. Okay.
I think.
Anthony.
Sorry, Michael.
The problem you highlighted with the gazebos and the insurance, is this a Christmas thing, or is this thing running through the other events during the year?
It tends just to be the Christmas lights
Because of the
switch on,
weather.
because the past 2 years we've just had really high winds and we've had issues with gazebos. They've stated that their concern is that for our Christmas light switch on, they're not advising putting gazebos outside, because if anything was to happen, they basically said they won't cover us because of the issues we've had for the past 2 years.
But this is a Christmas thing.
But it's just for Christmas, yeah.
So any other further questions about Christmas at all?
I just asked that there'll be the usual thing in the church on the way up.
So as the parade gets to St. Bart's, there will be a carol service as well, just like normal.
And will there be Father Christmas in his sleigh at the beginning?
So
Because it broke down last year.
Father Christmas will be leading the parade. However, when he gets to St. Bart's, he won't be hanging around to give out selection boxes or photos, just because he's doing the grotto all day. And we're going to get him on stage for the finale alongside our special guest sponsors, the mayor. So we don't want him stuck at St. Bart's with a queue of 200 children, really.
The torchlight procession, how many security stewards do we have?
We have 5 SIA plus 1 manager.
And it might be worthwhile if the councillors can wear high vis, if that's appropriate, then I think that might be a good idea as well. Especially when you're giving out glow sticks and things like that.
Yeah, we have still got some high visors downstairs that say Town Council on, so any councillors taking part in the parade, if you want high vis, just let me know, make sure we've got them on us.
And where will the fire extinguishers be located? I know that I do go on about this, yeah, but yeah.
I usually, they're outside them gates and they're all trying to just put them anywhere and I think, oh, put it there.
So we'll have 2 fire extinguishers outside St Bartholomew's Church, along with the sand bucket, the water buckets across the road. So I think we've got 5 sand, 5 water, 2 fire extinguishers, and then the security staff, 3 of the security staff will have a fire extinguisher each as well. So we've got them all.
Last year, I was observing the stewards, and the parade was going up, but all the stewards were still at the bottom. And I ran up and just checked, and there was no actual stewards that were walking up with the parade. Can that be addressed?
The only reason for that was because there were no flaming torches last year. Because of the wind, we didn't give flaming torches out because it wouldn't have been safe
It wasn't
to do,
last
so.
year. It must have been the year
So
before.
that's
Yeah,
already been
yeah,
addressed.
yeah, it must have been the year before.
And they'll be told that they walk with the parade and they're constantly reminding people to keep them upright.
Yeah, sorry.
So it's all sorted.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. On to the next one. I'm actually going to merge 9 and 10, the event schedule for 2024, and then additional events, because the ones that we discussed previously, I believe it was July's meeting, they obviously they fall under 2024. So
the event schedule for 2024, which everyone should have a copy of. You might have it in your emails if you haven't got any papers with you. But we've got Easter in Colne returning, the Family Fun Day, which we started 2 years ago in Alton Courts Park. Colne Grand Prix, we're just waiting for a date from British Cycling after we've submitted the tender. Halloween in Colne, Remembrance Sunday, and Christmas in Colne. So we've got 6 events returning next year. I will just mention that the cost of everything in events is going up. The first aid alone is going up 20%. So we are going to be working to a very tight budget, especially because it's unlikely that we'll get an increase in budget next year because everything's tight nowadays. And obviously we want to keep the precept down, which then comes on to my next point of additional events that the committee was looking at. So there was the Armed Forces event that we was looking at, which you'd look at doing that Armed Forces weekend. When I priced up entertainment and the operational elements of that event, you're talking in the region of about £7,000 to get some of the entertainment because it is pricey that weekend. And we would also be competing with Burnley, who do a really good Armed Forces event, Padiham and Accrington. So we may struggle because they tend to book stuff years in advance because it's an event they do every single year. Another event that we were looking at was the D-Day event, which it's actually on a Thursday during term time. The Beacon on its own, you're talking in the region anywhere between £2,500 and £3,500 just for this Beacon. And then obviously if you add in a variety of themed entertainment as well, you're talking somewhere in the region of £5,500 to £6,000. With that obviously in mind, it is going to be very tight next year. So I think the only way we could possibly put these events on is by making the other events smaller. An idea that came from FES was for the D-Day event, we could utilise the Union Jack flags and the bunting that we bought this year and decorate the town and celebrate that way, because that way we're keeping costs down. We're not having to spend thousands of pounds on an event. We can use what we've already got And it did look quite well last year with all the Union Jack flags up. But obviously it's open for discussion if anyone's got any questions.
I think because the day event is on a Thursday, there's people at work, there's kids at school. So to put an event on a Thursday, it's not economical, and there's less footfall. So I think just decorating the town would be sufficient, because it just to be a waste of money really on a Thursday. So it's a good idea using stuff we've already got for that day. So it's a lot easier, a lot better, and there'll be plenty of social media about. So yeah, I don't see a problem in that. Thank you.
Maybe we could ask the local schools to get involved if any of their school kids obviously wanted to do a bit of like a display or something. We could actually try and get that on display around the town, and so I get local schools involved. Sure.
Yeah, the Con Library are doing a few good things, so we could actually get the groups that use Con Library to liaise with the schools. The likes of West Street and Lord Street, and get them to do things based on the anniversary of D-Day and of course the Armed Forces Day, and then just ask the local shops if they would do something to help remember the day itself.
Like window displays, that sort of thing. Excellent.
I know our first aid, it's like 5-star premier class, and I've always thought that I don't know what other towns do for their events, but because it costs us an awful lot of money, doesn't it, Nathan? But I don't know. There used to be, there was something based in Clitheroe, I think, they were all trained, but it was more than St John's Ambulance. It was a step up from that, but it wasn't as high as we use. But I think a few of us have thought over the years we should try and look for something a bit cheaper. I don't know how much it is, Nathan, but last time I looked, it was an enormous amount of money that we're paying.
So at the beginning of this year, I went out for quotations based on guidance from the Purple Guide, which basically tells us depending on what type of event it is, what first aid provision we should have in place. And some of the quotes we got back were double, maybe 3 times what we currently pay now to the company we use. Obviously, there is groups that volunteer do first aid, but it's recommended not to use them just because if they don't turn up, you've no first aid provision, and it's quite common that they don't turn up. I mean, there was an event 2 weeks ago over Skipton Way, and they had a full first aid provision team full of volunteers. Not a single person turned up. So it isn't recommended to use like volunteer groups or anything like that. But from what we had a look at the beginning of the year, I think we'd struggle to get it cheaper than what we would be offered through our current provider.
How much is it about?
Christmas is £750. That's free first aiders. Remembrance is £70. Easter is £450. Family Fun Day in the Park, that was £450.
What about Grand Prix?
Grand Prix was £900.
Blues?
Blues 2,000 and 2,400 for the 3 days.
Thank you, Chair. This has always concerned me with the first aid provision. For the older ones, many years ago, St John's always provided the first aid free, and we gave a voluntary contribution. It has now become commercialised. End of story. It's not because they don't turn up on. For example, a few years ago, they had their annual exam, which now has to be, in the old days, it was done by your local doctor. Not anymore. It has to be a company. It's strange enough, the company in Nelson, only one person from the St. John's in Nelson passed their annual first aid exam. They were failing them. For example, on the defibrillator, when you have to send somebody for an ambulance, apparently you have to use a set of words, and they got one word wrong, they failed their exam. It's quite strange how suddenly one person was entitled to go on first aid duty. The same company that failed them all was then charging local authorities an arm and a leg to replace them. Yeah, I think this is a con job and it's wrong. You know, what's the point of having the St. John's Ambulance Brigade when we turn around and say, oh, we can't use you because you're not commercial enough? You know, I think that needs to be questioned seriously. We should be making use of the St. John's Ambulance Brigade. You know, what's the point of joining the St. John's when you can't do public duties anymore because somebody else wants to make a lot of money and make a profit out of it?
I think the problem with the St. John Ambulance is that, like a lot of voluntary organisations, they have difficulty getting volunteers to join and do it. They still offer, or did up to a few years ago, training for people in first aiders in work. I get the words right. First aiders at work, and even in that, there are the different layers. You know, there's the level where we can't give them 2 aspirin and say lie down for 5 minutes, but where virtually all you do is make sure they're still breathing and dial 999, up to a competent train. I forget what the exact level is called, but when they do it, you know, they're allowed to do things like stick a plaster on and put your arm in a sling and that sort of thing. But I think it's still a relatively. I didn't add it all up as I was going on. Day and age, and we can't do without it. They may not do anything for 100 events that they do, but on the 101st, when they're not here, will be the one where instead of the gazebo collapsing on a pile of whatever it collapsed on last year, wax melts or something, it will collapse on somebody and pin them to the ground, and they'll drown in a puddle that was there. It's just not worth the risk.
Thank you, Chair. As a former St. John Ambulance official, there are 4 levels. There are 4 levels. For your entry level, where you learn how to take someone's pulse, up to where I was, you know, where you're actually able to treat people and refer them to hospital, whatever. The fact that we, as Ian has said, that this company has come in and said, oh, you passed, you haven't, that has reduced the competency of some of the St. John Ambulance. Yes, they are free. Yes, they will take a donation off you. But if they're being undermined by corporate tick boxes, it comes to a push when willing volunteers who are actually giving up their time to serve the public are being buttonholed because they don't say the right words to call for an ambulance. It beggars belief. I remember being on duty whilst there was a traffic warden in Liverpool, And I actually seen a person collapse. I went over, started my first aid on him. Police officers come over, said, what the hell are you doing? I said, excuse me. I said, what are you doing? I said, no, what you were doing? You're going to phone an ambulance. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And he said, you can't tell me what to do. Sergeant came over and says, this person is in charge. This person was the first one to see him. You do what this person says. Because a first aider, no matter whether it's British Red Cross, St. John's or St. Andrews or the Red Crescent, whatever ambulance association or medical association you are from, and you're there the first, you are in charge until the paid people, the paramedics, turn up and take over from you. Because you are the one who's got to give all the details of the accident, if you saw it, on what you've done, what treatment you've given to them. It's all right, us paying 4,500 a year, and as Howard has said, under times they might not come, like 101, where we got no one, but we got a person who was a trained first responder from the works, and he turns up because he's not part of our package. Something goes wrong with the person who's been injured. That person could get sued, and we would get sued. We need to seriously think about looking at the likes of the St. John or the British Red Cross again. Besides keeping in contact with this company, but we do need to look at using our volunteers and reserves. Thank you, Chair.
Can I just add that the company we use isn't this company in Nelson. They're actually the company. They do events all over the UK, and every single member of staff that they've got, they're already an active first responder or paramedics that on their time off they do ad hoc work. It is also advised from the ESAG meeting that we have with Pendlebury Council to avoid using voluntary organisations, just because they need to make sure that someone is there, because obviously you never know if volunteers have a family emergency or anything could pop up. But if the committee want us to have a look at contacting the voluntary organisations, we can do. But it might be, I don't think it would be advised from Pendle's ESAG or our health and safety consultant. But if the committee want me to investigate it, I can do.
I think it is something we could possibly look at investigating, but if it's come from the safety group, the emergency safety group, then I think we should take their recommendation on board.
I think we could see if there is a local group in East Lancashire, and they could be like an extra, couldn't they? If they said, we're having an event, we've got some people here, you know, that will, like professionals, as it were. But you won't want them organisations to fold because nobody's using them, if you know what I mean. You know, I mean, there may be a group in, I know there's a big group in Clitheroe because they do Clitheroe's events, you know, stuff. But we could at least look at the.
Neil, then Ian, then Patricia.
So just a suggestion, nobody panic. So would it be cost effective for members of the events team to be trained as medics? Obviously not too high up, if it will cost money, but just event trained first aid. Would it not be cost effective? You're spending thousands on this, and once you're a trained medic, you know, obviously you pass an exam every year, so it'll be a constant flow of qualified counsellors. What are you suggesting?
So the training course, I believe it's about £175 a person. And that gives you level 3 emergency first aid at work, which is a 3-day course. All council staff are level 3 emergency first aid at work. But it could be something to look at. I mean, we can always have an item for a future month's agenda to be first aid at events, and we can have a look at the different options, whether it's using a voluntary organisation, whether it's using event medical solutions or event medical companies, and we can also invite a member from Pendle ESAG and like our health and safety consultant to get a professional opinion on the matter, because it is very serious for stay at events. But if the committee's happy, we can bring it back to future month's agenda.
Just a quick question, who would volunteer? Would anybody volunteer for this? 1, 2, there's 3. 4.
Craig
So
was too
the-
busy on his stall.
Yeah, so you know, not everybody's here, so just look into what.
It's obviously also the equipment as well.
Thank you, Chair. I was actually a member of the St. John's cadets long time ago, in the days of old when they still had horse-drawn ambulances. And the amount of events, even cadets that took part in, we did first aid, stock cars, all the football matches, the annual walk up Pendle Hill, and that. We didn't have a problem. We didn't kill anybody. We dealt with a lot of injuries, especially at football matches, which can be quite brutal at times. So I can't see what the problem is. As I said, it's purely, the reason it's not because you need highly trained paramedics with thousands of pounds. It's you need a company that's going to charge you a lot of money for providing the service that the St. John's can provide. They are trained for it. You don't need to be a specialised paramedic to do first aid. Straightforward. No, you don't need. Yeah, but the staff. Yeah, but you don't need paramedics to provide first aid. I was also trained as a combat medical technician within the Royal Army Medical Corps Volunteers, and the first thing you're told is, if they don't need it, don't treat them. You just basically stabilise them. Yeah, aims of first aid, as Patricia will know, to save life, prevent the condition from becoming worse, and obtain further medical aid as soon as possible. That's it. There's nothing I take. You're not carrying out operations, putting in chest drains, stuff like that, treating hemopneumothoraxes. You're just basically stabilising them until the ambulance can get here within about 7 or 8 hours.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'd like my colleague here, I too was a cadet with the St. John ambulance, not St. John's, the St. John ambulance. They only have the 1S, and that's at the beginning of the title. St. John ambulance. I too attended football matches, stock car racing, wrestling, and I was there on duty at the opening of the Pendle, as it is now called Pendle Rise, or the Arndale Centre in Nelson, with the then Miss World and Sydney from Australia.
So I think we should take it to the future month's agenda. Just one thing to consider: if we were to use a voluntary organisation, and for whatever reason, all their volunteers are unavailable, and then we have an incident, who's liable? Because it would be the council. And I think that's one of the risks you've got to consider. And I think this is why the ESAG and our health and safety consultant will advise using an event medical company for that reason. Because obviously, like Howard said, you might not have an incident in 20 events that you do, but that one time they don't show up, you are then liable.
So I was going to suggest, if we, I know that we've got to follow guidance from our peers at Pendle Council. But I'm also thinking they provide three. This company provide 3 personnel.
Depending on what event it is.
Right. Because there was when I was at the Blues, there was only 3 personnel, weren't there?
There were 4.
4.
Yeah.
But it is quite a spread out event. The likes of what we're going to do the Christmas in Cone, that's going to be all right. It's more centralised. Yeah. Those 3 personnel. But for bigger events, like when we up in Alkin Coats Park, all the roll that the parade all the way around. If you're going to have 3 people and they're walking around, but you've got an incident already at Alkin Coats Park, it could be a problem. So that's why I suggest we could still use we could still have the paid group, but we could have volunteers on standby or in addition to the paid people and a small donation. It wouldn't detract, but it would in actual fact enhance our medical cover for not a lot of money, and it would also give this whatever volunteer organisation we use, whether it is the British Red Cross, St John Ambulance, St Andrews, or the Red Crescent, depending on who we contact, and it would also give them a little bit of prestige as well at being involved in such prestige events that we put on, and it would work in tandem.
Thank you for that, Dr. Harris.
I hear what's been
Michael.
I hear what's been said, but when I think of the size of some of the crowds at the events, and especially with the Blues Festival, which you've got, which they were packed with alcohol involved. To think about, you need a decent package in place going into that. Now, fair enough, have volunteers to add to that, but you need to be sure that you've got something in place to start with. You can't sort of save on that.
I was just going to say, I think Nelson used volunteers there when they do their events. Yeah, I don't know what Barnoldswick does.
So depending on the event at Nelson, they use the same company we use. The events at Barnoldswick, they use the same company that we use because they are one of the cheapest in the northwest, really.
I know it just seemed a lot to me, really.
You'd be surprised. I mean, some of the quotes we had beginning of this year for events, you were talking about £1,200 for like Easter. It was silly money. But obviously we can bring it back for a future month's agenda, and we can get professional opinion, and we can obviously let the committee decide what they want to do regarding first aid at events. Yeah.
Excellent.
The only other thing I've noticed all these events here. Gala?
That's going to be a separate matter.
Oh, thank you.
I was just about to bring that, but we'll add the first aid on to the agenda for January's meeting. We'll discuss that further detail there. And
we need a proposer and seconder.
Can we have a proposer for that? And the seconder, please. Thank you.
Just to go back slightly, you've got the event schedule for 2024. We need a proposer and a seconder for that. And then you've got your additional events, which is the Armed Forces and the D-Day event. We need a decision on what the committee want to do regarding those additional events.
Can I just ask something? I may have misheard on the radio, it was yesterday, that are we talking, when we say the Armed Forces event, are we talking about Armed Forces Day or an actual event like Haworth and Padiham and everywhere?
Well, we don't think I agree with it. If it's not going to be affordable, we can't We don't have 13 grand. We don't have. We
No,
don't have
no,
13 grand in the budget.
just for clarification,
So it was brought to a previous meeting about holding additional events. One of them was the Armed Forces event, which Councillor Robinson brought up. You'd look at doing a 1-day event over the Armed Forces weekend, which is then when you're competing with the likes of Burnley, Paddy and
but there is Armed Forces Day as well. Is that what we're talking about? Because the question I was trying to raise was like somebody on something I heard in the last couple of days seemed to imply that Armed Forces Day this year coincided with the Remembrance weekend. Right, so that because at one point we did agree to buy flags to fly on the days for Merchant Navy Day, and it's the only one I can remember.
Yeah.
Did we actually get that?
we do have them down.
So they can be flown rather than
So the Merchant Navy Day, I could see red E-sign flag. am I right?
hence
So that's the top of the building.
Right.
If you want one from across the way, we'd have to order a different size.
I just did we get an RAF one as well?
We haven't got one, no.
So can you just run through those 3 events again? What you're asking for?
So it was an Armed Forces event, which would be held Armed Forces weekend, which I can't remember the date off the top of my head.
Just stop there. So what we're going to do that day, if it's cost effective, just put bunting up or anything like that.
So for the Armed Forces event, there was no other suggestion on what to do. It was the D-Day celebration,
Right.
which is a lot of local authorities are lighting a beacon and having like themed entertainment, whereas the suggestion we had in the office was it was Howard's suggestion in FES actually, about putting flags up, putting bunting up on the high street and decorating the town.
Can we actually go with that then?
Yeah, can I have a proposal for that? And a seconder, please?
Can we also look at getting a school colouring competition or something like
Yeah, of course, we can include that in.
something like
Yeah.
And if I may carry on,
Yeah.
what's the second event?
So you had the Armed Forces event and then you had the D-Day event, 2 separate events there. They were the only 2.
Okay, so are we going to combine them or do the same thing for each event?
Well, that's up to the committee.
Although with the Armed Forces, we just put flags up.
Yeah.
And then for the D-Day, we put bunting all around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all?
that's what we can. I didn't realise the two. Well, should have realised that the flagpoles were different. Maybe if we had a naval flag, a Air Force flag, and an the army. Yeah, the army don't have there must be some. We've only got 3 flag, but yeah, we've only got 3.
Yeah.
But we can look at
Because there's so many events going on around us. I think, if I'm an ex-veteran and if I wanted to celebrate that, I could go to Burnley and, we're not going to lose it, and the people that want to go can go. And it just saves us money. Yeah, just one speaker at once and then we can, yeah, so I agree. Just save money, but still celebrate.
If we were to have one here, it would possibly detract from Burnley, Accrington, Paddy and Skipton and Keighley. So, and they're the big ones that are close by. So, and as Councillor Butler has said, people would normally go to them anyway. So, just commemorating with the military flags would be sufficient, as well as putting the button up.
Thank you. I'll just go to Neil to about you wanted to discuss the gala, didn't you?
Come to an agreement yet with the bid. I keep asking for meetings, but we never get to a meeting. But we'll leave that until the full council. I've got some people coming. Just to reference the gala, because it's in town, then the town should have a little bit of invest in it, if you will. Good news is I've secured your wagon for the LBGT. Yeah, I never say that, but so I've secured you a wagon and a space behind if you want something else there. I'm also glad to say we're getting. I must admit the way this is going, it's going to be one of the biggest parades we've had. It's getting amazing. So while I'm here, I just want to invite you as chairman and head of the council to march in the parade like you did last year. It was really good. And it's referencing vehicle wise, it's going really well. In fact, I'm gonna have to start turning people down when it's getting too big, if you know what I mean, the length of it. But it's all going well. I know it's in June, but June still comes around very quickly. And the fundraising we have to raise is we have to start the next day to raise funds. But there's a lot going on, and it's all going really good, except for the bid and the road closure. But I'm sure we can sort something out if we ever get to meet. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. I think we can bring the gala part on there if we can discuss that at the full council, make that and.
It was a bid, wasn't it? They wanted you to at the full council rather than the gala. Which one?
What's that, sorry?
Council.
Yeah.
About the road closures. All right, road closures.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Alice.
Yes, another event that we have discussed. I know that obviously there's a bit of a problem with budget at the moment, but we did discuss this earlier, and it's the Green Folk Festival on the Millennium Green. Now, when we put a grant application together, it came to about £6,000, and that include the tents, sound system, a headliner, security and first aid. So obviously we didn't get the grant from the lottery, but we have had some feedback as to why we didn't get that. So we could possibly go back to them and ask them then. But it was something that perhaps the council were willing to look at.
Thanks for that, Alice.
And I think Nathan's got some information.
So at the meeting when it was brought to the committee, it was the same time that the Armed Forces event and the D-Day event was brought up. And thinking back, I'm pretty sure we're gonna look at the cost, because I think you're going to be talking a lot more money than £6,000, which is on my to-do list. I haven't forgot. And I'm pretty sure in the meeting we said that once we'd had a look at costings, you were going to put a grant application to the town council for the Millennium Green instead of the events committee taking it on. But like I say, I haven't forgot.
I had. That was the procedure that you wanted us to go by, to actually put in our ideas to the town council. And I know that you were thinking of perhaps having a meeting with Pat Carr and Pete Comper, who would head up this event. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alice.
Sorry, can I just mention one more thing? I know that some people might know about my views on Halloween. I just wondered, years ago we had a Comic-Con competition with Spider-Man and Batman running around the town, and I just wondered whether that's something that we could put on.
It's certainly something that we
Chair,
can
the
add
mar-
as an item, obviously for a
It was
future.
the market and
Mark, yeah, it was, wasn't it?
that organised it.
It was actually Shawnee, with from Saints and Dragons.
Yeah.
Just a little shop up here, who organised it with two other people in the market, because I was in their trade at the time. It was a massive success. How they costed it out and how they did it, I don't know. I weren't really involved in that, but it'd be good to touch base with her on it, I think.
I know Shawnee personally, so if you want, if the council, if the committee want me to have a look, I will go and speak with her and get her to put something together and send it into the council.
Yeah, that's fine. Me and Shauna, we got back. We got way back, so it's yeah. We can obviously we can add that as to items for the January agenda.
I will just remind the committee, the more events that we add into the schedule, the less money we've got to spend. Because comparing this year to last year, we're very, very close to an over budget. And obviously we don't want to go over budget. And it is very unlikely that we're going to get any extra money. So we just need to be wary that with costs going up, we may struggle to put on extra events unless we make other events smaller. Which obviously is achievable, but they wouldn't be as successful as they are now.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting that it would be another event. I was suggesting that it might be a replacement event for Halloween or for the fun day. Yeah, but that's just my my comment. Yeah.
So thank you, you just reminded me about something. So Nathan, through you, Chair. Nathan, do you still require me for the fun day? The suits?
To be honest, I've not even looked at anything for next year's fun day. But if we do need you, I'll give you a shout.
Thank you very much. Did we, as on to item 11, did we receive an update from the bid at all?
So Anissa is unavailable to attend because she's busy before annual leave and she's getting ready for Pendleside Hospice strictly this Friday, but she has sent in an update. So the Arts Council have approved the funding application for the Winter Bloom Light Parade, which is scheduled to take place on Saturday, the 24th February. The Soapbox Challenge is scheduled for Sunday, the 16th of June. And the bid are currently liaising with the Gala Secretary, Gary Seed, to work together. But they have said that they're only closing Albert Road from St Bart's down to Tubbs, so the one-way system will stay open. This year, though, they are planning Christmas crafts throughout the town with promotion to start next week, where they'll be hosting craft workshops inside the shops. They've got a choir performing, real-life reindeers at St John's, which will be happening on the 2nd and 9th of December, which is all funded by the bid. But that's the only update we've had.
Thank you for that. I just want to see if we can also, if we could get an update from obviously Col Citadel, see if any events that they've got coming up with Christmas, if they've got anything like Christmas in Colne, planning anything to coincide with that at all, or?
So we've got really busy. Ridiculously busy. Jolene, my assistant, was in here last week speaking in front of the funding application, and we've now gone to 6 full days a week where we'll be opening. We have something on 5 evenings every week, and we've just introduced a Saturday night social and a Saturday morning as well. We also have the first Sunday of each month we're doing a walk and talk, so essentially we're running at 7 days. Events wise, we've started doing, just due to funding as well ourselves, we've done a few smaller events. So we've got some wreath making workshops, poetry workshops, a bingo, sort of senior social bingo event, and a family Christmas event. If we'd have been able to get the funding in time and was having it all through, we'd have loved to have done a Christmas event on the same day as Christmas in Colne, but unfortunately it's not worked out on that. But now that I've got the dates for next year, I can plan to incorporate in going forward. We will also be open Christmas Day. I would like to let everybody know, 10 till 12, free bacon butties and a free hot drink for anybody, you know, as well.
Any activities or events that you are doing, if you tag Colne Town Council, if we see it, we will try and share it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And it did get missed off the agenda. I think Alice wanted to bring up the bar at the Colne events.
Sorry,
You wanted to bring up the bar at the Colne events.
Yes. I don't know whether we are having the bar at our next event.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. So that's quite easy. It's just the vodka slushies that do concern me. They're popping up all over town, and also we have them at our event run by ourselves, and I'm just not sure that that's the sort of thing that we should be promoting with family events. With the ordinary slushies there right next to the vodka ones, it just doesn't look good, and yeah, it's something that I think we need to discuss at.
So just to get clarification, obviously when we have had the mobile bar events, we've had lager, cider, and the alcoholic slushes, and then we've had a fridge of cans, different bits. Is it just the alcoholic slushes?
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about.
From
yes.
my point of view, I'd be happy to stop doing them because they're a pain to mix because you have to get the right consistency, otherwise they don't freeze. So if the committee's happy, we'll just stop doing alcoholic slushes and just stick to.
I mean, a slushy to me is a children's drink, and mixing that.
Because we're at the events committee and some of the events, I was absolutely shocked. I mentioned my friend there, one of the best stalls on the events, cheap, reliable, and really, I don't know who does it. But on the other aspect of that, I did say before, I got a burger and a wrap and a drink, and it cost me £26. £26. Now, surely, I said, well, I don't want it at that price, but the prices were down below, and they were on display, but I didn't look at down there. Can we cap these people? Because they are charging an horrendous amount of money for what you can buy normally for £3 or £4. And it really took me back. The fact that I am who I am, I've just paid the money. But, you know, I'd rather not. It was cooking it when I realised it was £26.
Was this at the Blues?
It was just outside here, yeah.
Right. So that's something that we can bring up at the Blues working group. Over the Blues weekend, the food vendors do tend to put the prices up
a lot.
However, normal town centre events,
yeah,
they don't. So if you want, I can add it onto the agenda for the Blues working group.
Because I mean, we all know that these food people pay you money to be there, and we understand that, and they've got to make a profit, and they're there all day, and I understand, and I understand, and I understand, but I don't understand where they get the prices from. Because if you look at some of these people that walk through the town, I'm not going to mention any specific, but if you walk down the bottom of town, you know, you're getting a small, whatever, noodles or whatever, and you're looking at £8, and it's not right. It's not right. It just, the prices are stupid is a good word. Stupid.
I will add it onto the Blues working group agenda, which the next meeting is beginning of December sometime.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I've got to agree with Councillor Butterworth. Some of the prices at the Blues were horrendous. I was down at the bottom end, down by the Crown, when I had a dish of what I can only describe as slods and chips. It was supposed to be stew and chips, and it cost me 10 quid. Yeah, but yeah, I could have. To be honest, I can make better for less than that, and I do. But I also agree with Councillor Mann about the slushers, and I will second their proposal to get rid of them. Thank you, Chair.
So that's carried then. It's one item off Nathan's bar. And is there
Sorry. On that, at the Grand Prix, a couple of us said, they said, what would you like to drink? And we both said, oh, cup of tea, please. And there was no provision for a cup of tea. There wasn't. Obviously alcohol, and soft fizzy drinks, which I don't drink. But yeah, a cup of tea would be lovely. So I'm sure that's easily solved.
We do normally have hot drinks. The only reason we didn't is because the town clerk was on holiday. We were down a Lensman, one of the Lensman were watering, so we were incredibly short staffed for the event. But I'll make sure that next year we've got brew making facilities ready for you.
Thank you. And just on another point, how many recycling bins have we got booked in for Christmas? For the Blues, there was just 8 recycling bins, 4 outside St John's and 4 outside St Bart's. So I just wondered whether we were thinking about that as well.
So we've got 4 recycling bins, 4 general waste bins, plus 2 large skips for Christmas. So they'll be spread out throughout the event area, and then we'll have one of each inside the fun house as well. I've done the staffing schedule today for the event, and every hour the lensman will go around, empty the bins, put them in our trailer so that when we get back here, we can dispose of them and make sure we haven't got bins overflowing. And then they'll be going out litter picking as well throughout the duration of the event. Obviously, if any councillors want to volunteer some time litter picking, then you're more than welcome to just pop along and we'll sort it out with.
We might get Waterside Action Group on that.
If you could, that'd be brilliant.
Just as an add-on, as we do tie into these events, obviously everything that we do is low cost. So you pay £3.50 for a hearty meal at our centre, which we're also doing for takeaway when we opened up on the Grand Prix last year. You can get a cup of tea for 50p from there as well. If Nathan, if you could come at me with the D-Day and the Armed Forces event dates, I've just had a quick Google, but I'm not quite sure. If you could come at me with those, we could maybe look at promoting something within the centre, maybe fancy dress themed or something on those days, and make more of an occasion of it in the centre of Colne.
Excellent, thank you. Councillor Robinson. Okay, we'll move on to, I know we've got quite a few items already on.
Yeah, one of the problems on litter picking, and I noticed this happened with the last event we had, because I was walking around keeping an eye on the bins. And a lot of the bins, you can't access them. You know, and it's really difficult to change the bags without sort of like using a sledgehammer to demolish the actual outside of the bin. Yeah. And people complain because the bins are overflowing. All you can do is try to get your hand in and try to squash it down as much as possible. You couldn't actually take the outside cover off to change the bags. And that caused a few problems.
I've spoken with David Walker today at Pendlebury Council when we arranged some additional waste management for Christmas, and he's going to provide us with some keys for the bins so that we can take the tops off and get rid of the rubbish.
Excellent. I know we've got a few items already for the next month's agenda, obviously with the health and safety, obviously, and also the Comic Con as well. Is there any other items that people would like to raise while we're here tonight?
Making a small announcement, because I know we're on YouTube, what have you. So, if there's any veterans, within, the Colne or in Pendle area, need any assistance, as in equipment, you know, ramps or anything like that, I've, come across a fund where I can fund people. We've just put an extended toilet in for a veteran that's lost his leg. And the council, bless them, has given him a booster seat that's not high enough, so we've provided a tall toilet. So if anybody knows any veterans in the area that needs any help that way, please contact me. Everybody's got my number, so please contact me. Thank you.
That's very kind of you, Neil. Thank you.
I just want to go back. Is Colne Town Council actually organising this float for the gala for the LGBT? No. Well, some of the councillors, some of us need to get together and decide on a theme and how we're going to dress the wagon and all that. We don't have to do it now, but it's something we need to think about. Craig.
So it's something that I'm going to visit in January, because obviously I sell toys and it's a really busy time of year for me. And I've got a lot of other things going on, but I've preliminarily, there's a youth group in Nelson, so I really think we should get them involved. They're an LGBT group. And I've put the feelers out into the community as well. And I just think the more people that you get involved in it, the better it's going to be. But yeah, I think it seems a really good idea.
Yeah. Just I don't want you to have to do everything. We'll all help as we can.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You know, it's team effort, isn't it? You know, but yeah, I think getting together in January would be a really good idea, but I just can't commit the time before then, if I'm being honest.
Well, we'll put it on well, we might have a separate meeting for that then.
Yeah, the idea is I've got 9 full length wagons so far, and they're all doing now. I can get you the exact measurements, or I can even take you down to the trailer, and you can have a look at it and look at where's what, have a measure up and that sort of thing. I agree with you. After the new year is better, because then you can have a good look. We've got a fair amount of time to just dress your wagon, but as there's only 2 people running the gala, I provide the wagon, or Mr. Kibble, God bless him. He provides the vehicles for us, and the drivers are there all day, free of charge, just volunteers, amazing people. But the wagon is parked there, and it's all yours. So the gala don't get involved in each individual float. Just make sure the float's there on time and leaves on time. So yeah, but if you want to come and visit the vehicle, I can take you down there. You can even meet Mr. Kibble and have a nice day. But the actual individual floats are left to the individuals. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thank you, Mary. I was going to contact Craig again after Christmas because it's going to be a rough time for everybody coming up to Christmas, and I'm also I'm in contact with the people who organised Burnley Pride to get some ideas from them to help us with our float. Thank you, Chair.
So a word of advice, right? I've done it for I don't know how many years now. Word of advice is when you get your float, you need 1 chief.
Yes.
Not 10. I had a float one day and they were like, no, we're putting that there, we're putting that there, we're putting that there. So decide way before who's in charge and who's doing what. So it's on the day you get judged. So obviously you want to make it as nice as possible to be judged. The MP will be judging again. But whatever you do, please have 1 chief and lots of Indians. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And what I'll do now, bring the meeting to a close. Thank you everybody for attending. The next meeting will be on Tuesday, the 23rd of January. Well, 2024, not 2023. At 7 p.m. Thank you very much for